Morning.
Morning.
My name is not very important. You don't need to know. But I'm in the Bible. Jesus talks about me. Sure, I wish I had a name that you would recognize. But you know how it is. My mother always told me, you made your bed, now lie in it. Maybe if I had done things differently back in my time, you would remember my name right along with Peter, James, and John. Maybe I could have written a gospel like Matthew, Mark, Luke. But it was not to be. Who would have believed? It was a crazy time. I was younger. I was curious, but not committed. I first met him at the wedding in Cana. You've heard of it, I'm sure. Cana is my hometown. It was a big wedding. A couple of important families. Just about the whole town was there. Everyone was having a good time. There was music. There was dancing. Love was in the air. And then they ran out of wine. Could you imagine the disgrace for the groom's family? The party was about to break up when Jesus provided more wine. Not just any old muscatel. It was the best wine I ever tasted. Better than anything before or since. The steward, the manager of the wedding reception, he's the only one who knew the truth. That those clay pots from which we drank wine had been filled with water. Oh, Jesus knew how to party all right. Not like those stuffy priests in Jerusalem, or that barefoot honey and locust eating doomsayer down by the Jordan. I think that is what first got my attention. Jesus knew how to have a good time. When he talked about God, it wasn't heavy, oppressive stuff like we got from the rabbis. It was fun. He could tell a good story. He could make you cry, but he could make you laugh. He liked to laugh. And his laugh was genuine. It was good to be around Jesus. Because he wasn't the life of the party. Jesus was the party. He left Cana soon. But the word came back to us about his adventures. He went to Jerusalem for the Passover. And if you believe the stories, he really put the priests in their places. He overturned the tables of the money changers and drove out all the sacrificial animals from the temple plaza. Don't turn my house into a marketplace, he yelled. Our local rabbi in Cana was calling Jesus a rabble-rouser, a troublemaker. But when I heard the story, I thought to myself, hey, this is my kind of religion. Then the word came that Jesus had gone to Samaria and was preaching there. Now remember, the Samaritans were not pure-blooded Jews like we are. They were half-breeds. And we looked down our noses at them. The rabbi in Cana even preached a sermon about it. And I can hear his pompous voice even to this day. "We must keep the faith pure," he shouted. "We are God's chosen. We are his elect." Why? Telling the Samaritans about God is like dressing a dog in the finest linens. Well, he should know. Because our rabbi had the finest linens in the entire town. I kind of like the idea myself. Seems to me that the prophets have been telling us for years that God is the God of all people, even the Samaritans, even the Romans. Then one day, there was a shout in the street. Some young boys were announcing that Jesus had come back to Cana. Sure enough, half the town was there, figuring that wherever he was heading, something exciting was going to happen. And it did. While he was talking to us, a Roman centurion, an official in the government, a soldier, approached Jesus and begged for his help because his son was dying. And all Jesus said was, "Go home. Your son is already better." And I thought, how remarkable. He didn't quote scripture. He didn't say a big, long prayer. He didn't ask to have the boy brought to him. He didn't ask for a little baksheesh, show your gratitude for the miracle with a few denarii. I feel like a Cleveland football quarterback. Show me the money. Little inside joke there. No. Jesus just said, "Go home. It's already done." And sure enough, we found out later that by the time the soldier got home, his boy was outside playing, all better. I saw some really incredible things. I saw the crippled walk, the deaf hear, the blind see. He even raised someone from the dead. I was there when he fed 5,000 men, plus the women and children, with some child's sack lunch. 5 loaves, 2 little fish. But not everyone welcomed us. Some people resented us. And the days were hot as we walked everywhere, and the nights were cold. Nobody left a light on for us. There was no Motel 6. We had no place to stay, no 5-star luxury hotel. There was no dining in Michelin star restaurants. Jesus was simply surrounded by disciples like me. And he taught the crowds and the would-be disciples at every opportunity, telling us that God is a God of love. Do you know, he actually expected us to love one another. I hate the Romans. They have ruined us, occupied us, and put us under their thumb. Jesus said we were to love them. It was all very confusing. It hurt my brain trying to figure out what Jesus was talking about. So one night, as I drifted off to sleep, I decided it was time to go back to Cana. see if my job was still there for me, reunite with my family. And so I got up where I was, and I went home. And I never saw him again. I guess you could call me a discipleship dropout. I wasn't alone. There were others like me who could put the pieces together. I mean, we liked Jesus and all that. Hey, we even believed, at least I think we did, that God had truly sent him. But then when he starts saying that he is the one come down from heaven, I thought, wait a minute. I believed that you were sent by God. Now you want me to believe that you are God? I'm sorry, my little brain cannot comprehend that. So I went home. But I heard the stories about him. How he was captured by the priests' soldiers, put through the mockery of a trial, taken before the governor, and how Pilate condemned him to be crucified. I heard that he died. But then I heard that he was back. The women were the first ones to tell us that they had gone to the tomb and found it empty. You know the rest of the story. Death could not defeat God. The grave could not hold Jesus. As it turns out, Jesus was the life of the party after all. Like he said, in him, life will never end. Amen. Now, I still don't understand that. And I decided I don't have to. I will simply have faith that what he said was true. And I am happy to tell you that I am no longer a discipleship dropout. I'm convinced that the sacrifice Jesus made for me was the model for the sacrifice I should make for others. No, not being crucified. Feeding the hungry. Caring for the sick. Treating the homeless with respect. Bringing reassurance to the lonely and the frightened. Comforting the dying and the mourning. I even teach children. I teach in the church school. Teenagers. Hey. Why anybody would want to teach teenagers, I have no idea. Crazy they make you. You know, after my ancestors crossed the Jordan River and occupied the land that God had promised, their leader Joshua said to them, "Choose this day whom you will serve." I can answer with Joshua and say, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." What about you? What about your house? What choice will you make? Amen.